Well, airstrikes alone will not be enough to defeat ISIS. Ground troops are needed. That is the message, not coming from a U.S. military advisor, mind you. This is coming from the head of ISIS. This chilling message in the very same week. Questions arose about his fate after airstrikes hit a convoy of ISIS leaders near Mosul in northern Iraq. So in this audio recording, he taunts the U.S.-led coalition, calling them, quote, terrified, weak, and powerless. And he calls upon ISIS militants everywhere to, quote unquote, light the earth with fire upon all tyrants. Joining me now, Arwa Damon, our CNN senior international correspondent, live from Turkey. And Arwa, he makes some references which date the audio actually after these airstrikes that we're talking about, specifically after they were carried out. Is that enough to I guess, end sort of the rumor swirling about his fate? What was your read into this recording?
Well, those rumors about his fate, that he'd been injured, came out over the weekend after there were airstrikes on a large convoy outside of Mosul, where the Ministry of Defense, that is the Iraqi Ministry of Defense, alleged that he had been injured. Now, the U.S. has not confirmed that. There are a few interesting things to point out in this audio message. He does make direct reference to the 1,500 troops that President Obama said would be sent over to Iraq, although the timing of that right around when the alleged airstrike said to have taken place. But then he also refers to a number of other groups in Libya, Yemen, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Algeria that pledged allegiance to ISIS just in the last few days. So that seeming to indicate that perhaps this message had been released after those airstrikes took place over the weekend. But at the same time, one has to keep in mind that before these groups are going to pledge allegiance, they presumably would have reached out to the organization. So there's a slight likelihood that perhaps the audio tape was made before the weekend. At the end of the day, even though we cannot verify its authenticity, it's clear that ISIS at this stage wants to use that message to send out a clear signal to its followers that, one, al-Baghdadi is alive and well, and two, the organization is as strong as ever, Brooke.
Following all these pieces of news from the U.S. so closely, directly referencing, as you point out, that 1,500 troops, it's stunning. And then with regard to ISIS, they've also released another video, Arwa, showing these militants in this underground tunnel network, claiming it enables them to withstand those airstrikes. Tell me about the tunnels. Where do they come from?
It's quite interesting that this video was posted on an ISIS website, and it not only shows these tunnels being dug in the city of Fallujah, that's in Al-Anbar province in Iraq. It also shows a group of ISIS fighters in an underground bunker. The main voice on the audio tape is calling on other ISIS fighters to dig similar bunkers, saying that right now the ground was their protector, and effectively saying that this was how they were managing to withstand the U.S. airstrikes. The person on the tape also goes into detail about the height of the tunnel, saying that they were specifically made for a certain height for ease of movement. Also talks about how these bunkers are not just used to hide from airstrikes, but also as safe areas where ISIS fighters can rest and relax without fear of being caught up in these airstrikes. Now, that all being said and done, Brooke, it's most certainly not the first time we've been seeing militants digging elaborate underground networks to keep themselves safe.